We are announcing that Kentucky has its first confirmed case of the coronavirus.
Tonight, I am confirming that there is a person in Lexington who has tested positive for coronavirus.
To our Kentucky families out there that are nervous, this is what we've been preparing for, and we are ready.
There is every reason to be careful.
I filed a state of emergency so that we would have every tool that we could need to address this issue and ultimately to protect our people.
This is WKYT News at 11.
Good evening to you. Kentucky's first case of the coronavirus is a person from Harrison County.
That information was revealed earlier tonight from Harrison County's judge executive. We don't know yet the person's name or condition or where they contracted the virus. Public Health Director Dr. Crystal Miller says the next step is to trace where that person has been and who they've been in contact with. But Judge Executive Alex Barnett is urging people to not panic.
We've been working for over a month to be prepared in case the coronavirus shows up here in Harrison County. We are prepared for it. We're going to tackle this thing head on. We've only got one case in Harrison County right now. Please remain calm. We're going to be all right.
A UK spokesperson says that person is in isolation at UK Chandler Hospital. That is after the patient tested positive for COVID-19.
That's where WKYT's Shelby Lofton is live tonight. Now, Shelby, we heard from Mayor Linda Gordon this evening. She's urging people not to panic, but to be cautious.
Victor, Mayor Linda Gordon says Governor Andy Beshear called her just before 5 o'clock tonight, confirming the first case of COVID-19 here in Kentucky. She says we're still in the beginning stages of gathering information, but that she met with various stakeholder groups earlier before this news broke. She says it's too early to formally announce any major changes.
I am declaring a state of emergency.
Hours after Governor Andy Beshear's announcement, Mayor Linda Gordon declares Lexington is under a state of emergency. She says this allows the city to have access to resources. What those are, we don't know yet. Many local leaders were present at the conference, including Fayette County Public Schools Superintendent Emmanuel Kalk.
We're going to stay in contact with the health department, and we get the information as to the contact tracing to see if the individual has had contact with children, families, in Fayette County.
He encourages parents to keep their children at home if they're sick. Adults and children should wash their hands, cover their sneezes and coughs with their arms, and avoid contact with people who are sick. We know this patient is being treated at UK Hospital. In a statement, University spokesman Jay Blanton said, quote, "Our healthcare team has taken every precaution and followed the appropriate Centers for Disease Control and Prevention protocols to prevent exposure to other patients and caregivers." Commissioner of Health Dr. Craig Humbaugh says the next step is called contact tracing.
Figure out who they may have been around, who their close contacts were, and then to try to contain the virus in that way, so get those folks to stay home and quarantine themselves and see if they develop signs or symptoms.
He says they will interview the person with COVID-19 and their family. As for right now, Mayor Gordon is asking the public to carry on as usual.
There's no reason to panic. There is every reason to be careful.
She says it's her priority to keep folks feeling safe and provide the information they need. Now, the Lexington Fayette County Health Department is taking your questions related to COVID-19. They're opening up a call center from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. Monday through Friday. The number for that is down below on your screen. Live in Lexington, Shelby Lofton, WKYT.
Thank you, Shelby. Right now, we don't know of any event cancellations this weekend due to the coronavirus. During Mayor Gordon's address, she reminded people to continue with life as normal.
We believe that people should continue to go to the events that they had planned for the weekend. And, as we get new information, we will be updating our community, and we do want everyone to feel safe and feel like they have enough information. But right now, we are urging people to go about their business. It's just if you feel sick, stay home.
The state and city leaders say the risk for Kentuckians is still low. Governor Andy Beshear says the state is working to figure out how this case came to Kentucky.
But he says the most important advice is to protect yourself. WKYT's Grace Feinerman continues our top story team coverage with the governor's message.
Kentucky has its first confirmed case of the coronavirus.
We don't know much about the victim of Kentucky's first coronavirus case. Beshear didn't share if the person is a man or woman, if they have traveled recently. What we do know, they are in Lexington.
While the overall threat to Kentuckians is still low, we as a state are going to take every necessary action to protect our people.
One of those actions, filing a state of emergency in Kentucky. Beshear says the Emergency Operations Center is activated to a level 4, which is the lowest level. Despite the state of emergency, Beshear says to stay calm.
Panic can be just as harmful as any type of virus that's out there.
Dr. Stack, head of Kentucky's Department of Health, says epidemiologists will now go through something called contact tracing.
So they do a very detailed, very methodical approach to identify everybody that person may have come in contact with, the places they may have been, any possible source and any possible exposure to the illness.
But what should you do to keep yourself healthy?
Not adjust their daily routines other than practicing good hygiene, not going to work if you're sick, not sending your kids to school if they're sick.
Beshear says he expects to see more cases, but he says Kentucky has been preparing and health providers are ready to respond. In Frankfort, Grace Feinerman, WKYT.
The governor says 10 people in Kentucky were tested for the coronavirus. So far, 9 of these tests came back negative. A state of emergency has been declared in both Fayette County and for the state of Kentucky. So what does that actually mean? Well, it is a tool that will allow health leaders more access to federal resources. The governor's executive order will mobilize the Kentucky National Guard. It also coordinates response with public agencies and requests assistance from federal and local levels. This is all to help keep Kentuckians safe.
We talked to ER physician Dr. Ryan Stanton today about what we can expect in the future in regard to the coronavirus. He says there's a lot of research underway right now.
As we move forward, we're going to be looking towards some of the preventive measures, what kind of medications will decrease the risk to patients, but also as scientists work towards a vaccine to help prevent this, but that's going to be at least a year, if not more, out as the strain is identified, the chemicals and substances and medications are made, and then they're tested for safety and efficacy before they're going to be released to the public.
You also may have heard that as soon as the weather starts to warm up, coronavirus season will be over. Dr. Stanton addressed this as well, saying we just don't know at this point. He says it could be similar to flu season. In that case, we would begin to dwindle in late spring. But since this is a disease we've never seen before, cases could also increase or stay about the same. The 21 people on board the Grand Princess cruise ship off the coast of California are confirmed to have coronavirus. 19 of those cases are crew members. The other 2 are passengers. The ship hasn't been allowed to dock because of the outbreak aboard. A Nicholasville couple is among those on the ship. They say they're confined to their rooms and their food is set outside of their rooms on the floor. But Vice President Pence says that ship will be brought to a non-commercial port this weekend. All 3,500 passengers will be tested. The 1,100-member crew will remain on the ship in quarantine. The 15th person has now died from coronavirus in the United States. The latest case is in King County, Washington. Health officials say the patient is in his 60s. He didn't live at the Life Care Center in Kirkland, where a majority of the deaths have been confirmed. Vice President Mike Pence and the coronavirus task force say that they are working with health leaders around the country to control the spread of the disease.
But according to all of the experts gathered here and on our task force, the risk to the American public of contracting the coronavirus remains low. That being said, we're continuing to lean into this effort in full partnership with state and local health authorities around the country to ensure that we do everything to prevent the spread of the disease, to mitigate its expansion, and to provide necessary treatment to Americans that have been impacted.
According to Johns Hopkins, there are now more than 300 cases confirmed across the United States. Earlier today, we learned about the first case in Indiana, just one case there. That person is in isolation in Indianapolis. Officials say they had recently traveled to Boston. And just yesterday, health officials in Tennessee confirming a case there in Williamson County, just